Chapter 5. She Who Laughs Last. The rain in Gotham never truly stopped. It only changed its mind about how hard it wanted to fall. Tonight it was a cold, needling mist that turned every streetlight into a halo of ghosts, and made the city smell like wet concrete and old sins. Batman had taken Jason and Dick hours ago. Bane and Killer Croc had decided the docks needed redecorating. And when two of the strongest men in Gotham decide to play demolition derby with shipping containers, you send the people who can hit back without the city falling down around them. That left Jonathan, Damian, and me in the Batcave with the police vans and the training logs. Jonathan was still riding the high from our last patrol, talking too fast about how we'd worked together, how the three of us had moved like we'd been doing it for years instead of weeks. Damian listened with his usual half-scowl, correcting every minor details in Jonathan's story with slight frustration in his voice. I listened to both of them and to the city breathing through the speakers. I had been in this universe long enough now for the yellow sun to start doing its work. My cells drank it greedily. Strength that had been theoretical was becoming fact. Flight that had required focus was becoming instinct. The magic I carried from lifetimes before this one sang a little louder every day, harmonizing with whatever strange, old power ran beneath Gotham's bones. And with something far more ancient elsewhere. The scanner crackled. All units, Joker active at the old Bleak Island Chemical Annex. Multiple hostages, shots fired. At least 2 confirmed down. Approach is hot. Repeat, Joker is in play and he has civilians. Jonathan was on his feet before the dispatcher finished. We're going. Damian didn't move right away. Father said critical threats only. He and the others are tied up. This is critical, I said. My voice came out quieter than I expected. I already knew how this story usually went. I had read it, watched it, lived versions of it in other worlds where the names were different. But the monster was the same. The Joker didn't take hostages to negotiate. He took them to make a point. And the point was always that Batman would arrive too late to save everyone, but just in time to keep the cycle going. I stood suit up. We're responding. Damian studied me for a second longer than necessary, then nodded once. Jonathan was already moving. We didn't take the batwing. Jonathan and I could fly. Damian had his grapnel and enough stubbornness to keep pace. We cut low over the water, the island's skeletal silhouette rising out of the mist, like something that had drowned and refused to stay hidden beneath the waves. Police lights painted the far shore in red and blue, but they were holding position. Nobody wanted to be the first through the door when the Joker was throwing the party. We landed on a rusted catwalk overlooking the main warehouse floor. Even from here, the sound hit different. Joker's laughter, high, wet, and delighted, seemed to bounce through the halls. There was a gunshot followed by a scream that cut off too cleanly. Then the Joker laughed again. Jonathan's hands tightened on the railing. He's killing them. He's bored, I said. My super hearing painted the picture in layers I didn't want. Heartbeats, too many fast, too many slowing. The wet sound of something heavy hitting something soft. Harley's voice, bright and sing-song, asking if Mr. J wanted her to make the next one dance. I turned to the boys. You clear the building. Side rooms, perimeter guards. Any hostages not in the main space. Non-lethal only. Get them out. Do not come into the central room until I call for you. Jonathan frowned. Merida, I'm handling the Joker. The tone of my voice held my true age and experience behind it. Damian's eyes narrowed. Why us on cleanup and you on him? Because if Batman were here, he would try to save everyone. And still let the Joker walk away breathing, I said, looking at Damian. I'm not going to let that happen tonight. The response was heavier than I intended. Jonathan looked like he wanted to argue. Damian just watched me with that sharp, assessing stare he used when he was recalculating everything he thought he knew about a person. I could sense he was bouncing between his training as an assassin, the pragmatism of my intent, and the rules his father had been ingraining in him ever since he came to live with him in Gotham. Crust me, I said. Clear the building. When it's done, come in, not before. They went. Jonathan dropped off the catwalk and blurred toward a side entrance. Damian vanished into the shadows with a grapnel line and the quiet professionalism of someone who had been doing this since he could walk. I waited until their heartbeats moved away from the main floor. Then I stepped off the catwalk and let the world fold around me. Teleporting was still easier than flying for short distances. One moment I was in the cold mist above the catwalk. The next I was inside, floating 3 inches above the cracked concrete. The air thick with cordite and fear and the chemical tang that never quite left this part of the island. The Joker had turned the old loading floor into a stage. Hostages knelt or stood in a ragged line, hands zip-tied. Some of them already bleeding from shallow cuts, meant to keep the others compliant. 2 bodies lay where they had fallen as examples. The Joker paced in front of them in full regalia, purple coat flaring, green hair plastered to his forehead by the mist that had snuck in through broken skylights. He had a gun in one hand and a crowbar in the other, and he was in the middle of a monologue about how Batman always showed up fashionably late. And wasn't that just the most delicious part of the joke? Harley Quinn leaned against a support pillar nearby, twirling her mallet like a baton. Giggling at the right moments, 4 henchmen with automatic weapons stood at the edges of the light. Every head turned when I appeared. The Joker stopped mid-sentence, his head tilted, the painted smile stretching wider in genuine surprise. Well, 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 if it isn't the Bat's shiny new accessory, the little Kryptonian orphan. Did Daddy Bats send you to play grown-up? Where's the big bad bat, huh? Did he finally get tired of the same old punchline? I floated forward. Slow. Deliberate. The concrete whispered under the faint pressure of my levitation. One of the henchmen, a big man with a shotgun and bad tattoos, swung the barrel toward me. Boss. He never finished the sentence. I crossed the distance in a blink, 2 fingers tapping the center of his forehead with exactly the force needed to circuit his consciousness without cracking bone. He dropped. The others raised their weapons. I didn't pause. A casual sweep of magical kinetic force, gentle by my standards, catastrophic by theirs, slammed them into the nearest walls. They hit, slid, and stayed down. The force had been precise and controlled to leave them alive. Harley came off the pillar with a shriek of delight and rage. Mallet already swinging. Nobody touches my puddin'. I caught the mallet in one hand without looking at her. The impact jarred her arms but did nothing to mine. With my free hand I reached out, 2 fingers finding the precise point on her neck where pressure and a whisper of sleep. Magic met. Her eyes rolled back. She folded like a marionette with cut strings. All of it happened while I continued drifting toward the Joker. He had gone very still. The manic energy was still there, but something colder had slid in behind it. Recognition, maybe, or the first flicker of something that looked almost like respect. "You're not Batman," he said. The words came out flat, "and you're not here to do what Batman would do." "No," I agreed. "I'm not." He licked his lips. The crowbar twitched in his grip. "So what are you then? Some kind of replacement?" A new sidekick with delusions of grandeur, he changed his tone to one of mock sympathy. "Are you going to lecture me about justice, and then bring me to Arkham so I can escape, and do it all again next month?" I stopped 6 feet from him. The hostages were staring. One woman, a nurse from the scrubs, whispered my name like a prayer. She wasn't sure she believed in. "Please, please save us." "I'm here," I said to the Joker. "Because if Batman showed up, you would live to kill more people. You've been allowed to kill too many already because he won't cross the line that will let him stop you for good. But I'm not Batman. I have no such line. I'm not a hero, I'm a goddess. And goddesses impart judgment." He laughed. It was a short, ugly sound. A goddess. "Honey, you're 12. This is the best bit I've heard all week. Come on then. Do it. I dare you. Make it funny, snap my neck. It'll be a real head-turner." He lunged. The crowbar came up fast, faster than most humans could manage. I caught it mid-arc, closed my fist, and felt the metal crumple like wet paper. The pieces clattered to the floor. I reached out with my other hand and closed it around his throat. His feet left the ground. My Kryptonian strength made the lift effortless. The magic running through my veins made the hold absolute. He kicked, clawed at my wrist, but it was like watching a child attack a statue. His pulse hammered against my palm, wild, furious, alive. For a moment the warehouse was silent except for the wet sound of his breathing and the distant drip of water through the roof. "Do it," he rasped. His eyes were wide, the pupils blown, fear and excitement and something like hunger all tangled together. Show them what you really are. I looked into those eyes and saw every version of him I had ever known. The comic pages, the movies, the games. The timelines where he shot the daughter of a commissioner, beat a boy to death with a crowbar, gassed entire blocks, turned love into a weapon and laughter into a body count. I had watched it happen across lifetimes. I had watched good people refuse to end it because the rules said mercy was infinite, and redemption was always possible. Rules were for people who could afford the bodies they left behind. I am what this world needs me to be, I said. I twisted, the crack was sharp and final. His body went limp instantly, the manic light in his eyes guttering out like a candle in a sudden wind. I held him there for 3 heartbeats, watching the last flicker fade, feeling nothing but cold certainty. No triumph, no regret. Just the quiet arithmetic of necessity. Someone had to be the one to do it. Harley Quinn woke up and screamed at the sight of me holding Joker's limp corpse in the air. It was a raw animal sound that tore through the warehouse and echoed off the rusted beams. No, Mr. J, you killed him. You killed my puddin'. Jonathan and Damien came through the side door at a run, skidding to a stop at the edge of the light. Jonathan's face went white. Merida, what did you do? Damien stared at the body, then at me. His voice was very quiet. You killed him. Yes, I said. The conversation that followed lasted longer than the fight. Jonathan couldn't stop looking at the body. We don't. Batman doesn't. We don't kill. Even him, especially him. That's the line. That's the whole point. I know, I said. I kept my voice gentle. He deserved that much. That's why I told you to clear the building. I didn't want either of you to carry this, but someone had to carry it. Damien hadn't moved. His arms were crossed tight over his chest, the robin colors stark against the shadows. My father believes in second chances, even for the worst of them. He believes the system can work if we keep showing up. And how many second chances has the Joker had? I asked. How many times has he been locked away, declared cured, escaped, and come back with new body counts? Your father is the best man I've met in this universe, Damien, but his mercy has a ledger, and the Joker keeps writing checks the city can't cash. Jonathan shook his head. But if we start deciding who lives and who dies... I didn't start anything, I said. He did, every time he picked up a gun, or a crowbar, or a canister of gas. I just ended one chapter of a story that has been repeating itself for decades. In the versions of this world I knew before I ever set foot here, he killed thousands. He crippled heroes. He murdered children. And every single time, someone with power chose to let him live, because the alternative scared them more than the bodies did. I looked at both of them, Jonathan, who still believed in the clean lines of heroism, and Damien, who had been raised in the gray, and still flinched when the gray got too dark. I've lived too many lives to pretend every monster can be redeemed. I said, some things are too broken, some threats are too patient. In the worlds I've walked, I've raised cities from ashes and ended wars that had lasted centuries. I've also removed tyrants and madmen when every other option had already failed. The Joker was not a man who could be reasoned with or rehabilitated. He is a disease that spreads through hope and laughter and the refusal to do what is necessary. Tonight, I chose necessity. Harley was still sobbing on the floor, rocking back and forth, the mallet forgotten beside her. The remaining conscious henchmen had gone very still, eyes wide, waiting to see if they were next. Jonathan swallowed. What happens now? You take Harley and the others to the police, I said. The hostages can tell them what they saw. Tell the truth. I won't ask you to lie for me. Damien finally looked away from the body, and you. I lifted the Joker's limp form and cradled it in both arms. He weighed nothing. I'm going to turn myself in, I said. The city deserves to know what happened here, and I won't hide from the consequences of the choice I made. Jonathan looked like he wanted to say something else. Maybe that I didn't have to. Maybe that we could figure something out, but the words didn't come. Damien just nodded once, the motion small and tight. Respect and admiration for what I was about to do. And possibly for what I had done, even though he couldn't say it right now. I flew out through the broken skylight, the night air rushing over my face, the body a dead weight in my arms. Gotham spread below me in a carpet of lights and shadow. Somewhere out there, Batman was still fighting Bane and Croc. Somewhere, the League was debating the file they kept on me. Somewhere, the stories were already rewriting themselves around what I had just done. I could have teleported straight to the police station. It would have been cleaner. Instead, I flew the long way, low enough that news helicopters could catch the silhouette if they were looking. High enough that I could see the whole city breathing. Let them see. Let the cameras record the girl in the Kryptonian suit, carrying the body of the Clown Prince. Let the message travel. The old rules had limits, and I had found one of them. The GCPD building rose ahead, its windows glowing against the rain. I descended slowly, deliberately, and floated through the open lobby doors. I landed in the center of the marble floor, set the Joker's body down with a strange, careful gentleness, and arranged the purple coat, so it didn't look quite so much like a discarded costume. Then I raised my hands, palms open. Every conversation stopped. Every head turned. Every eye was on me and the Joker's lifeless body. Phones rang unanswered, as stunned silence gripped everyone in the lobby. I looked up at the desk clerk. I would like to turn myself in for the murder of the Joker. Commissioner, Gordon pushed through the crowd of frozen officers. His face was gray under the lights. He looked at the body, then at me, and I saw the moment recognition hit him. The girl who had been photographed shopping with Bruce Wayne, the new Kryptonian ward. The one the tabloids had already started calling Gotham's princess. Merida, he said. His voice cracked on the second syllable. What did you do? I stopped him, I said. He had hostages in the old chemical annex on Bleak Island. He was killing them to pass the time. I made sure he couldn't do it again. My teammates are bringing the survivors and the other perpetrators down to the police that had the building surrounded. The hostages will confirm what they saw. The lobby had gone silent except for the click of cameras and the low murmur of radios calling for backup. That wouldn't matter. Gordon stared at the body for a long time. When he looked back at me, his expression was unreadable. You killed him. Yes, I said, with no remorse to be found in my tone. And I would do it again if it meant one less family burying someone. Because the Joker felt like telling a joke. He won't hurt anyone ever again. Gordon sighed and rubbed his jaw. And you're sure you want to turn yourself in? I nodded. I killed him. I'll let Gotham decide what to do with me. There was a long pause before Gordon motioned to a few detectives. Bring into custody. The pair of detectives stared at him dumbfoundedly for a few moments before moving close to me. One pulled out a set of handcuffs and the other just shook his head. Like they could hold her, he said, and held a hand out to me. If you'll follow us, please. As they led me toward one of the interrogation rooms, the first news vans were already screeching to a stop outside. The story was breaking live. Somewhere, Batman would hear. Somewhere, the League would start making calls. Somewhere, the world was deciding what it thought of the girl who had crossed the one line the Dark Knight never would. I walked calmly between the officers, head high, and let them take me deeper into the building. The judgment had already been passed in that warehouse. Everything after was just the world catching up. I looked up at one of the detectives and said quietly, I should let you know that Superman will be here soon. I wouldn't want him to surprise you all. I'd